Howdy y'all, Christi here with Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am doing another weekly garden update. However, this one is really going to show the hot mess express that the garden is right now, because we had horrible storms blow through yesterday morning, i.e. Tuesday morning. You guys are seeing this on Thursday, so Tuesday morning we had 76-mile-per-hour winds that were measured here. Overall, the garden survived really well, but it is a mess. So let's go ahead and walk through and see what all I need to clean up. All right, as usual, we are starting off in the tomato patch. As you can see, all of the plants pulled through just fine. None of them broke, none of them blew over, but I am a little bit behind on trellising them, so a lot of them are just leaning one way or another, and just pick a direction and they're leaning that way. So it is kind of a tangled jungle gym of tomato branches. I will just kind of walk through here and let you guys see. I am still battling spider mites, but I think that storm really helped wash them away. So I will be coming out and spraying later this evening, spraying the undersides of the leaves with the water hose, high pressure, just to see if I can do some damage there against the population. And there's a grasshopper, if you can see, just hopped away. But overall, the plants are looking pretty good. You can see have a ton of tomatoes growing. Really happy about that. And there's actually a few that are ready to harvest, so let me grab my harvest bowl really quickly. Actually, I'll just wait. I'll wait until the end of the video to harvest everything at once. So I'll go ahead and show you guys the bean slash cowpea green stalk here. Cowpeas haven't started doing anything yet. The beans, quite a few beans here. I did harvest some the other day. Clearly I need to come through and harvest again. So we have some big beans that are quite ready. But overall, looking pretty good. Okay, so this bed here, you can see that tomato is probably ready. That tomato is a Barebones terracotta. I think I'm gonna leave that, kind of undecided. We have rain predicted for tomorrow, so if I leave it, it might get diluted. I may pick it, we'll see. We have tomatoes ready here, there, and then I thought I saw another one, but maybe it was just a nasturtium there. We have a couple ready here. Show you guys the woolly cates. We have borage blooming. Look how beautiful those blue flowers are. These are edible. Supposedly they taste like cucumbers. I have not tried them. Okay, so let's talk about some problems with some of these tomatoes here. I had to come through and do some really heavy pruning because of the spider mite issue, which actually caused some of the tomatoes that were growing to become like sun scalded, and they got big like blisters on the top, and it affected all of the tomatoes that were growing on this one, and it affected 2 on this one. I did harvest one Sart Roloi yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, it was the day before yesterday, on Monday, and I only have one left because of all of the sun scalding and spider mites and all the problems that I've had with the Sart Roloi plants. They are really finicky, and that is one kind of sad thing about heirloom tomatoes, is they can be a little bit picky about their growing conditions. Barebones terracotta has been doing quite all right. Rebel Starfighter Prime is growing right along there. Let's see. Any other tomatoes giving me problems? I did harvest the super humongous tomato that was right here. It weighed in at 14 ounces. I actually thought it was gonna weigh more, so I was quite surprised that it didn't even weigh a pound because it was ginormous. I've never grown a tomato so big before. As you can see, I have a couple more Italian heirlooms growing here. On this side, this is more of the really big tomatoes. I have a couple that are getting ripe here. This is giant crimson. These have never been super big for me. I think this is about as big as it gets for me. This one right here. So these aren't like super huge, at least in my garden. Look, y'all, we have a male orb weaver. Let's see if I can get a little closer to him. So the males are all quite a bit smaller than the female. I'm really excited to see him, so maybe I'll see a female soon. So this is what I was talking about with tomatoes just blown every which direction. This is 3 plants and they're all blown this way. So I need to come out and trellis and fix and, you know, kind of try to straighten these guys out so that they have some good airflow and don't end up diseased. I need to try to do it without disturbing Mr. Spider there. But overall, let me back up here. Overall, this tomato patch could have suffered so much more damage because whenever I tell you those winds were terrifying, they were terrifying. It was like a horror movie. You could look out and, well, I mean, obviously you could hear it, but then it was also hailing and you could look out and this tree, you could just watch it like move several inches whenever the wind gusts would come through. And I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna lose that tree. It's gonna fall over. We're gonna lose the tree. Clearly we didn't. I am not 100% sure if it's leaning more than it was, but yeah, it was definitely moving during the storm. Over here, everything is growing pretty well. Everything withstood the crazy wind fairly well. The radish, if you guys remember last week's garden update, if you saw it, this radish right here that is leaning all the way over. So part of it did break off. I mean, 76 miles per hour. That's pretty intense. Yeah. So that is kind of leaning. That's kind of leaning. There's the other half of the radish plant right there. You can see it. Right. Here's where part of it broke off, which is really sad because that was going to be a bunch of little radish pods for the seeds. So I'll just set that right there in the grass for now so I can remember to clean it up. I'm going to attempt to step back here, but it's quite swampy, so hopefully I don't sink. That's still attached to a radish, if you can see down there. So it just got the heck beat out of it, but it's alive and kicking. We'll just let it lean against the fence for now. But look at the little flowers, aren't they so cute? I think they're really cute. But everything else survived really well, shockingly. Cucumber plants didn't really have any damage. We have little cucumbers. I think it was this one. Yeah, we got some dragon tongue beans. That one's ready to harvest. We have banana peppers. There's a few that are ready to harvest. Look at these bells. Those are, if I'm gonna grill them or something, those are just about ready. I don't see any on that plant, but overall, things are looking pretty decent here. Show you guys banana peppers that are growing. Marigold's got a little bit windblown. They're really susceptible to getting blown over in the wind. Let's see if we have some habanadas. We have a few habanadas. So these are a heatless habanero pepper, so they have that fruity flavor profile without getting punched in the face by the heat. So these are pretty good. for the kids who don't necessarily like hot stuff. Then white velvet okra. Then we do have, where is it? Okra is going to start blooming. We have one little okra right there. As it gets hotter, the okra actually does much better whenever it's super hot. So in the dead of summer, when nothing else will grow, the okra does. Then this bed also survived pretty well. I see some more beans that are ready for harvesting. Wow, that's a long bean right there. Look at that. We have this Ajvarsky pepper. Still don't think we have any purple bells yet. No. Okra. I don't think there's any baby cucumbers on these yet. More beans. Quite a few beans out here, so that's exciting. Really long. Then we have mystery peppers. They're still growing. They haven't ripened or anything, so maybe they're the Mulatto Isleno. We shall see. Mostly everything's just kind of windblown, one direction or another. I think this is Rondinese. It looks all right. And then we have another squash right here. I think this might be the yellow scallop. Yeah, yellow scallop squash here. The other two, roly-poly is nibbled on. So just 2 squash plants for right now. I'll try again in the fall, I think. Wild, y'all, wild. You can see where the wind knocked over these 2 sunflower plants. You can see where these 2 are leaning. They're staked up on just these right here, these stakes, and they're leaning. We got 4 inches of rain in 4 hours, so it was very wet, very fast, very windy, very scary. But we got really lucky. There were a lot of people that had a lot more damage. There's a lot of people that still don't have power in our area of the state. Of course, a little bit farther away, there were tornadoes that ripped through Saturday night, I think. So we're really fortunate. I'm out here showing you guys my mess, but compared to the devastation in other areas, I am definitely thankful. Yeah, that sunflower is just like broken and starting to grow up now, but it'll be okay. It'll still grow, I think. Again, just really grateful that everything is still standing. No damage to the roof as far as we know. Like nothing is leaking. The kids slept right through all the scary storm mess. So very fortunate. As you can see, as I'm panning through here, the zinnias are really blooming really well right now. They're all leaning mostly that way, but putting on a little bit of a show. Plains coreopsis, you can see how the wind just knocked it sideways. And then this area of zinnias is really starting to get powdery mildew, so I'll probably end up pulling it soon. Now this was also the area that part of the green stalk fell onto, so I'm wondering if that like maybe caused some of this powdery mildew issue, like it blocked airflow or something, because I don't know how long it was out here before we found out about it, before we saw it. I think the wind might have damaged this part of this plant, which is unfortunate because I think it was about to bloom. Yeah, I'll just prune that off. Looks like it's gonna bloom right here. So I think that's Gaillardia. Yeah, double sunset. Then we have more windblown. You can see the amaranth. It's kind of going every direction, this way and that way. That storm was wild. So if you guys were in the path of these storms, I certainly hope you were able to escape with minimal or no damage as well. I know that it was quite scary for a lot of folks. 635, which is like a major road in Dallas, was flooded. So I'm pretty sure that impacted traffic very heavily. It was a wild storm. Pepper green stalk, still doing really well, has quite a few peppers on it. We've been harvesting semi-regularly. I come out and I grab what I need for guacamole or salsa or what have you. We have this little Mexi bell here that looks like it has some sort of damage on the end, so I don't know if we'll actually get to eat any off of that. But this is a cool one. This is the mushroom pepper. I'll show you guys the shape of this. So these are really cool. It gets about golf ball size before it ripens. So these ought to be ripening pretty soon, I think. And then we have one other really cool variety over here. This is rattlesnake pepper. I think it gets to be about a foot long and then it ripens. It's supposed to be pretty spicy. I'm growing it for my husband, not for me. I'm afraid of super spice. And then the Buena Mulata. This one did have a lot of blooms on it, but I'm betting the wind just blew them all off. That weather was wild. We have some jalapenos here. Overall, it's doing pretty well. Strawberries. I really need to trim this tree so that this top tier will get enough sunlight. You can see that 3 tiers though are really starting to green up. There's a couple on the bottom too that have some greenery. I think they're again, I don't expect to get any strawberries this year, especially since we just planted these out. But I did want them to get good and established so that next year we will have lots of strawberries. And then I also have, let's see, looks like the wind might have just wrecked this one. Yeah, the wind just wrecked that. But there's also some strawberries growing in this. So we kind of just have them growing everywhere. This is blue spice basil, I think. Let's see. Yes, blue spice basil. And then we have sweet alyssum and Greek oregano and some strawberries in here. It's kind of a hodgepodge. The hodgepodge green stalk is also doing really well. Chamomile, I actually need to harvest more. I didn't harvest yesterday because of that crazy storm. So I'll just come out and harvest that here in a little while. And I've just been setting them on my dehydrator tray and not actually dehydrating them, just letting them air dry themselves. But the dwarf okra varieties are looking pretty good. These cucumbers also looking pretty good. Hopefully, I see lots of buzzy bug activity over here, so hopefully there's no issues getting these pollinated. Cinnamon basil, this one is really good for tea. More cucumbers. Mint is definitely minting. That is quite a poofy plant. This volunteer sunflower bloomed and it's so pretty. I'm surprised that the wind didn't knock that one way or another because it sure knocked everything else. I wonder if maybe the fence gave it a good barrier because it was like coming in this way and then yeah, it was all kinds of bad. And then it looks like I need to prune the thyme again. Did you guys see that butterfly? Happy butterfly. And then big spider. This one's starting to bloom. That is the Aleppo, I think. And then we have Carolina Reaper. It has a little bloom on it. And then habanero and lemon habanero and a regular habanero. And let's see, it's a regular habanero right there in case I had the camera facing somewhere else, because I'm an excellent camera person. But yeah, not a bad. Overall, the garden is gardening, doing pretty well. Okay, before I sign off of this video, I'm going to harvest this stuff really quick, just so you can see what my harvests have been looking like lately. Nothing like too substantial. I'm certainly not stocking a grocery store or anything over here, but you know, food is food. Anytime I can rely less on the grocery store, it is a good day. So yeah. So beans are one of those fast-growing crops that once they start setting fruit, you really want to start coming out like every day to see if you have anything that's big enough to harvest. Because one day it'll be tiny, and then the next day you have like a 12-inch bean pod, and you're like, what the heck? It was just so small yesterday. So that's the beans so far. There's not many. Now remember, there are some dragon tongue beans over there. I'm going to grab the tomatoes really quick that need to be harvested, and then I will go grab those beans. So there is the tomato harvest for today. That's not too bad. There's Porter, Arkansas Traveler, Giant Crimson, Italian Heirloom, Thorburns Terracotta, and some mystery tomatoes. The tag says Black Beauty, but they're clearly not. It's these two kind of pinkish ones over here. I have no idea what they are, but I'm gonna eat them anyway. Okay, so as far as when to harvest this stuff, yeah, with the tomatoes, you want to harvest later in the day, after the heat of the sun is like over the horizon and the sun's on the way down. It's kind of a cloudy day today, so I'm harvesting at around 3 p.m. Usually if it's like a sunny day or something, 6, 7, 8 p.m. is a good time. That way the sun can really concentrate all those sugars within the tomato and you'd get like the most flavor. Obviously if it's going to rain a whole lot or you're facing severe pest pressure or anything like that, all that goes out the window and you just harvest it when you can. For the beans, there's not really a hard fast rule for that. You just harvest them whenever they're the size you want them. Same thing with okra. In the heat of the summer, when the summer is blazing hot and okra is really thriving, you may find yourself harvesting in the morning and in the evening because it simply just grows so incredibly fast. The same thing whenever you have your zucchini and your yellow squash growing, because those grow so quickly. You might harvest in the morning and then you might harvest again in the evening. Now your peppers. You're going to harvest the sweet ones in the morning before the heat of the sun takes the sweetness out of the peppers. So unlike tomatoes, it won't concentrate the flavors of the sweet pepper. You want those early in the day. But your hot peppers, like the jalapenos, serranos, habaneros, Carolina Reapers, all those, you want to harvest at the end of the day whenever the plant is kind of stressed. So if you can, try to avoid watering for a day or two before you're gonna harvest. Let it be hot, hot. Let that sun just beat down on those pepper plants and then harvest them whenever it's a cool enough temperature for you to be able to stand being outside. Often like almost dark. You're going to find that your hot peppers are much hotter and much more flavorful that way. Now, everything else, your herbs and stuff, in the heat of the summer, basil will still grow. It often bolts, but the flavor isn't affected too horribly. Some people will tell you that you cannot eat it once it is bolted. That has not been the case for me. All my basil is bolted now and I'm still using it just like I do regularly. It might benefit you to harvest it early in the morning whenever you're harvesting those sweet peppers, so that, you know, the plant isn't as stressed out and maybe wilty and sad looking, because you'll see that in the heat of the summer a lot of your plants are going to look really crappy during the day, but then once the sun is kind of off of them and away from them, they perk back up, and that's just sun stress. The plant isn't sick, it's not dying, it's just hot. We get hot and wilty in the summertime too. Yeah, that's kind of the easiest harvesting basics. Some things are in the morning, some things are in the evening, some things are whenever they're the size that you want them to be. The best thing that you can do for your garden is to just be out in it. Walk through it in the morning and in the evening and inspect everything over, harvest what you need to, let the other things grow that you feel like you can let them go a little bit longer. I am picking some of these tomatoes a little bit early, like this Thorburns terracotta here, and even this Italian heirloom, because we do have rain coming, and the rain will dilute the flavors of the tomato. So I feel like by harvesting them now, they'll actually have a better flavor than they will if I wait until after the storm passes tomorrow. Plus, I don't know what kind of damage that storm is gonna do. It has been crazy, y'all. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I need to get this garden cleaned up. I need to do some trellising on those tomatoes so that the next storm that rips through, hopefully they won't get all windblown and wacky. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I do hope to see you guys on the next garden update video. If you did like this video, please feel free to like and subscribe and do all those YouTube-y things. Until next time, go find a way to get those garden manicures.